Every professional has a unique magic waiting to be discovered. At Finding the Unicorn in You helps you unlock your hidden potential. Thank you for tuning in. Now switching it over to our host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finding the Unicorn in You. Today, I have a special guest who is a three-time certified master resume writer, as well as an industry-leading career strategist and career resilient expert. She is also the founder of Refresh Your Step, LLC, a career advisory firm that with clients located nationally and internationally. She and her team collaborate intensely and extensively. So she and her team collaborate extensively with clients on the capitalized process and innovative methodology that addresses all facets of one's career progression. I can't speak today. And resilience, including tactical career guidance, job searches, strategies, mock interviews, negotiation tactics, and so much more. I'll let her talk a little bit more about herself and like everything that she does. So without further ado, welcome Emily Kapit.
Oh, Jaime, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah, this will be a great conversation. Just to give that background, I am, as you noted, a triple certified master resume writer. I launched Refresh Your Step back in 2008, so quite a while ago at this point. And part of what got me into this was in my earlier career history, I had worked both in broadcast journalism in New York City as well as investment banking in New York. I was not dealing with anybody's money. I was more on the PR, corporate communications, and recruiting side for the bank. But what I noticed in both of those career stops was people were miserable at all levels. And they couldn't explain why they got into the career path that they did, other than I thought I would make a lot of money or I thought I would like it and I don't. But what I consistently heard was, I don't know how to get out. And all these things are happening and my industry is changing and I'm miserable and I don't know what to do next. And it was such a consistent phrase and feeling that I felt, let me be part of the solution and not part of the problem. So I left and I went to grad school with the full plan to do what I'm doing now. Halfway through, the firm I had worked for filed for bankruptcy. It was Lehman Brothers, for those of you who are familiar. And it just right then and there launched my career much faster because people were calling and saying, "You used to help me then. Now I'm screwed. Help me, please." And initially, I was not going to do the resume piece. I was really going to focus on career advisory for young professionals and mid levels because that niche didn't really have support. Again, this was back in 2008, 2009. There was a lot of campus university help and there's a lot of executive coaches, but nothing for anyone in between. So I saw a path there, an opening, if you will, but very quickly, because I was already innately a writer and I understood the strategy, and it was very clear that your career path is inherently married to your professional assets, resume, LinkedIn, your job search strategy, your networking, your interviewing, all of these things are tied together. So I figured if I'm going to go down the path of career advisory, sure as heck better know how to craft these documents and do them really well. So got to be known for that. Again, triple certified master resume writer. And then just put together a whole process. We call it the capitalized process because my last name is Kapit. I'm here for all of the puns. We put together I know it works well. And it helps people to just take that step back, understand, hey, what am I dealing with in this moment? What is this crisis professionally that I'm focused on? And how do I find my way through? And yeah, so we work with clients all over the world, every level, every sector, and it really is very much focused on how can I find my way through to the other side? How can I leverage my resilience, expand that, grow that, and continue advancing in my career in a very intentional way?
I love that. What an amazing story and like your
Thank you.
trajectory to go there. And it just really goes show that how strong you are because you're able to pivot so quickly. And
Yeah, thank you.
I know while you're going through it, sometimes it can be a little bit hectic, but the fact that you still have the perseverance and the strength to push through and get to where you're at now, it's amazing accomplishment.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I try to honestly really imbue that upon our clients because they come to me in some version of a crisis, whether it's a crisis of one, I hate what I'm doing, or I have a terrible manager and it's impacting the whole team, or my department's changing, my sector's changing. Right now, we're dealing with a lot of people, part of governmental layoffs. So it's like impacting entire industries and all of that. So, whatever that crisis is, individuals are start coming to us, and it's really all right. I know you've got a deer in the headlights feeling right now. And it's like, where do I go? How do I do this? But let's take that step back. Let's think through this strategically. Yes, it's scary. I definitely identify that, but let's also be strategic and let's recognize the pros and the advantages and what's going to set you apart within your job search. And let's plan out step by step the process you're going to go through to, again, come out the other side stronger and higher recognition of your record of success, and not just papering the town with your documents, but being far more strategic with your network. And so people, and just in this moment, I can think of several clients who are dealing with all manner of crisis. And just going through this process allows them to see themselves in a whole new light and reframe. And that's powerful.
Yeah, and both of our sectors are very overlapping. So I'm a career
Yeah.
coach as well, and I less on the resume writing, even though I'll tweak it and look into it. You're the professional in that. You're the master coach in that one. I'm more so in preparing like the mindset to get them ready to do that. I think a lot of the things that you said is true. Clients come to me with a lot of internal crisis
Yeah.
of either
Yeah.
I'm getting laid off, I just got laid off, I just can't handle the pressures of this position anymore, or the somebody bought the company and like the whole culture shifted and I don't really like it anymore,
I know.
or my manager quit or got promoted and now I have this like new toxic manager. And it's a lot of things that just like they feel unmotivated, they feel lost, they're no longer comfortable, and it's the status quo changes. So a lot of us, what we have to do is get their mindset back on track, get them to
Yes.
their confidence
100%.
back up again, and like where do we go from here?
That is inherently built into the process because, to your point, it's just so central to how you help people move forward.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say would be like the industry that you gravitate towards?
It's a good question. For me, it's less about the industry and more about the people and how prepared they are to put the work in. It really
Yeah.
is, because I can have someone who is in finance 1 hour, and then the next hour, someone who's in law, and then someone who works for the government, and then someone in tech. And as long as they're all in recognition of, I'm in a hard moment, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I want to actually persevere and move through, and I'm going to surround myself with the people who can help me get there. But I will put in the work too. However, that needs to happen for them, and they're prepared for that, and they're in that mindset, we're ready to go. And so again, it's really less of an industry, more of people who want to partner with us and not just say, oh, you do it. I want you to send me stuff and it better look good. It's really, there's a collaboration. We're the expert resume writers and career coaches. You're the expert in you. We need to partner and come together. We're going to learn from each other. Those are the people that we work with. Those are the people that gravitate towards us, and that we have a great partnership.
That's awesome. And it just really goes to show that no matter who you are and where you're at in life, we're all people at the end of the day, and we go through the
Oh,
same, very
100%.
similar like processes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And so it's always interesting to me how you can have people just across different sectors dealing with different things who are just ready for change and ready to jump in. And look, there's going to be nuance, because how you are going to craft documents for someone in law is going to be very different, more qualitative than how you're going to craft for someone in finance, which will inherently be more quantitative. And but at certain levels, and you're talking mid levels and up, you're also in recognition of how are they as a leader, how are they as a manager, how are they coming through for others. And that language and that level of emotional intelligence, especially these days, tend to be consistent across sectors. And we love that.
No, definitely. So with all of this that's going on, like what is one, if you have to pick one career tip, one thing that you were like, that's the one thing you should focus on to get you to the like to at least get you started wherever you want to go, what would it be?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So the thing that I find really centralizes and binds everything together, regardless of level, regardless of sector, it is recognizing that you have and bring to the table a record of success. I don't care if you are a college student getting ready to graduate, or you are a C suite executive looking at board positions, or anything in the middle, which is a lot. you have a record of success. You have those things that you have done and done well and want to do more of versus things you never want to do again, which is also important to identify. But in recognizing that pattern of excellence, you are setting yourself up so beautifully, right?
Mhm.
Because not only will your documents reflect that pattern of excellence, which of course is going to open more doors, but you are going to be able to clarify your path forward to say, hey, these are the things I've done well and that I want to do more of versus never these things again. So let's be thoughtful about what we're focusing on, what we're not focusing on in the document. But then let's also be thoughtful about what kinds of jobs we're looking for. If I've identified, look, I'm in marketing, but I want to do more experiential marketing and I never ever want to do, but I want to do that for a company and I don't want to do it for an agency. And I want to make sure project management is in there. Well, then I've just set very healthy parameters for my job search. I know my documents are going to focus on these things. But then I'm also going to be thoughtful about what roles I'm looking at. I won't look at agency positions. I'm going to look more at these in house ones that have the experiential, that have the project management. I'm going to leverage my network in these ways. I'm going to plan more for how my interviews are going to come across, so on and so forth. So recognizing that pattern of success really helps people to better understand their value, which then, of course, helps them to better see themselves in, I think, a much more objective light, which is so powerful if you have been dealing with a really difficult situation, because then everything shifts. You go from like glass is not just half empty. You might be going from glass is bone dry. That's how I'm feeling about myself, kind of thing. So, you know what? It's full, it's over the top. I am so prepared for this job search. I know exactly what I need to hit on. And these documents are opening the doors, and my network is working for me. I'm good to go. So it changes everything. So taking that step back and understanding, what did I do? How did I do it? What was the outcome from the beginning of your career to now, across all the various ways, and really then taking that time to understand the framework of how you're setting your documents up and how that's coming across in conversations in the job search. Everything goes back to that record of success. Spend time identifying that, which is inherent in our process. That's a key element to the capitalized process. But for everyone else who, is just at a different point right now, recognize that record of success. Spend time with it. Let it power your job search and your documents, and everything is going to be much more powerful.
I love that. And that's something that I have my clients do. We call it a success journal.
Love that.
The only thing I add a little bit different is I have them also take a record of how they felt before accomplishing it and then after.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I love that.
And the reason for that is because they tend to go into the cycle loop. And I also fall into this category where sometimes the imposter syndrome hits and you're like, I'm not going to be able to do this. And I give myself reasons why maybe I won't accomplish this goal. And then once you accomplish it, you're like, oh, that was nothing. I got through this. And it's just like seeing that repetitive pattern. So you're like, oh, this is just something that I normally do. How can I tackle it so I don't repeat this emotion again? I already see this history of me accomplishing all these things. How can I get this is like a pattern recognition?
No, I think that's so powerful. I really like that. I think it comes up in our process in a little bit of a different way, but it's
Mm,
still there where clients will talk about, when I was dealing with this manager, this is what it was such a toxic situation. This is what I was dealing with. And then it's okay. How can we assess moving forward to not repeat history and find yourself with a similar manager, similar situation,
yeah.
a culture that you don't like? How do we assess that? What are the red flags and green flags that we're looking for in a company, in a team, in a manager, in a role, so that we can better identify those things? And let's make sure that not only do we identify them going into this process, but then we are intuitively listening to our gut so that we are not ignoring and finding ourselves, again, repeating history. So it definitely shows up. And I've had clients who we go through that process, we have those conversations, and then as they are going through the interview, they'll come back and say, I just got a bad feeling talking to this guy, and it just was not going in the direction I wanted. I think I'm gonna step away from this particular opportunity. It's not the right fit for me. And then the universe hears it and brings them to the right opportunity. It's amazing how
Mhm.
that happens. So it's a similar notion. It comes up a little bit differently on our end, but it's so powerful and so important to be able to like talk through those. How did you feel moments? How were you going to move upon that moment? Yeah.
I love that. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's all about reflection and then
Oh,
recognizing patterns.
yeah.
They don't do that. That's an amazing story where you're like, you can
And
recognize. Mhm.
for sure, I think of it as if you don't evolve, which it really takes time looking into situations, you're just going to revolve around the same situation over and over. And
Yeah.
so it goes back to that emotional intelligence and making sure that you have the EQ to identify what's working, not what's not working, those red flags, those green flags, and having those parameters in place so that you're not in a free for all job search. It's so time sucked and ridiculous and gets you nowhere if it's a free for all job search. I can
Mhm.
do anything. No, you can't. Trust me. I can work anywhere. I can work with anyone. No, please don't say that. You are going to find yourself in a terrible situation if you are convincing yourself you can work for anyone. That's just self-select right out.
You have to set boundaries. You have to
Oh, yeah.
recognize like who are the people that I like to work with, what rejuvenates me, not take away my energy. There's so many things that go into it.
Yeah, and it's what kind of culture are you looking for? What kind of role? What kind of organization? What is the focus? And I think in this day and age, it's so important to know, like, outside of work, who am I? What's
Mhm.
important to me? How is that going to show up in my job search so that I am working for the organization that we're all on this same page with really crucial topics.
Yeah,
And I will say to clients, if you are doing research on an organization and you can see that y'all don't agree in some form or fashion on something that's actually important to you, very personally, let that be a self-selecting moment
yeah,
where, because then you're going to find yourself working for organizations that it's just a better fit all the
Mhm.
way around. And it's okay to set those boundaries. It's
Exactly.
powerful to set those boundaries.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with that. And with all of the things that you just mentioned, there's a lot of things that go into the job search, like from just like seeing if it's a good culture, making sure your resume is up to date, your cover letter, interviewing
Yeah.
process. It's a lot to juggle for an individual. Like, what are some things that you can recommend for people to ground themselves and de-stress so they don't burn out?
I do recommend looking at the job search as a full-time job, especially if you're not currently working. You approach it like from the hours of this to that and not like 9 to 9:30. Like it's a full-time job. But also make sure to be smart and take breaks. Make sure to surround yourself with a team of support that definitely should include like the family and friends who keep you grounded, as well as the to the extent that this works for you, coaches like us who can help you stay objective and bring to the table support opportunities in terms of the documents and helping you work your way through that, the interview prep, making sure that you are in the driver's seat of your career navigation, but have people with you that can help navigate you there as well. I find that helps people definitely stay grounded. I also find making sure that you are still doing the things that make you happy and that bring you joy. And for some people, it's I'm going to spend a few hours doing a job search, but I'm going to do it at my favorite coffee place, right? Or I'm going to spend a couple of hours working on my resume, but then I'm going to go for a run because that clears my mind. So, yes, you want to approach this with the intention that this is a professional search and you want to really devote the time and attention to it, but you wanna make sure that you're getting out of your own mind because that's gonna just help you stay fresh. And that is something I definitely recommend to people. Even when they're going through the process that we have clients go through, we'll say, "Look, you've got a full life and job a lot of times, or you've got family, you've got this, that, and the other. Set aside X amount of time for in a day for recognizing, identifying some jobs you want to think about, looking through your network, tracking that information with conversation, but still make sure that you're setting yourself time to be to do the things that again bring you joy, just to stay fresh, just to have that balance.
Yeah, definitely. And there's a time and place for everything. You have to be able
For sure.
to do sections of it. One thing
Mhm.
that I tell my clients is Mondays could be just your job search days. Look at all of the jobs that you
Yeah.
want, apply for the week. Tuesday and Wednesday, apply. Thursday, maybe like refresh to see if, like where you're at with like your list. And then Friday, respond to follow up with any like employers that you already started doing. Applies to
Absolutely.
you to say, hey, where am I at? What is my status? And then go do a system that works for you. That's just like one.
Absolutely. And one thing I also recommend is tracking the conversations that you're having. So we share with them like a network tracker spreadsheet that is individual for each person. And it's set up so it's who did I talk to? What was the goal of the conversation? What did I get out of it? Who did they recommend that I follow up with next? What is my date for following up with them? And checking in with that every day, because then over time, you are going to have daily follow ups that can lead to additional conversation and that can lead to opportunities, right? And so that's where we really do a lot of network deep dives so that people can look at their networks, start small, start with the low hanging fruit, start with the easy people that you can have conversations with and they are well connected and they'll make introductions for you. You start with 5 people in that networking tracker spreadsheet. Each one will hopefully connect you to a few more people. Naturally, it's going to expand out. And then you're going to find yourself with wonderful, strategic, very intentional networking conversations that are more qualitative and I think have stronger outcomes than just, I'm going to apply to 20 jobs today because that's what I was told to do. It
Exactly.
really, and I like to tell people this is slightly different but still connected. A job search is not a numbers game. It really isn't. It is a qualitative. You might apply to 3 jobs a week, but each of those roles lead to conversations. You might focus on, applying to 3 jobs, but you are having networking discussions to find that sort of backdoor into companies that you really want to target, right? So there's that aspect too, where I'm applying to these open roles at these companies and these other companies, they don't have anything open, but man, I'm having conversations with each and every one. And one of those is already starting to lead to we recognize what you bring to the table and let's talk about consulting and let's talk about opening a position for you. And that never would have happened had you not been having those informational networking discussions. So again, less of a numbers game, more of a qualitative search that's very focused on the network.
Yes, exactly. It is very important, and the opportunities can open up any from like these conversations. I've had a client that started networking with one company, even though they didn't get the job that they applied for, they recommended it to another company that had a similar position open. So you just never know
Yeah.
where the conversation is going to lead.
It's true. And I recommend to people go in with a plan of asking open ended questions about what's going on at your company, what's coming down the pipeline, what are the challenges that you're facing, what's coming this year into next year. And then not just asking those open ended questions, but listening for what they're saying back to you, which is, from my perspective, intelligence gathering.
Yep.
You're listening for what are they saying to you that you can then jump in on.
Mhm.
You're talking to an organization and say you're in the tech space and they're talking to you about their biggest challenge right now is in the AI world. And you're like, I have solved lots of problems in the AI space. Let me hear more about what you're struggling with. And then all of a sudden you're talking shop with people that is your area of expertise that they can see that's an area of expertise and they're struggling this thing and all of a sudden in their mind we could use you. I think
Mhm.
it'd be really helpful to speak to you further. Let me put you in touch with so and so at the top and let's keep the conversation going. You are already in their mind as a problem solver, an
Exactly.
expert in this space. So again, asking those open-ended questions, hearing what they are saying, listening for those openings of you have a struggle or you're trying to solve this problem or this is an area you want to get more into. I bring expertise in those things. Let's
Mhm.
talk more about it. It endears you to them. It connects you to that organization. Maybe that role isn't open right now, but maybe it will be and they already have you in mind for it. You need to
Exactly.
be the person they think of. Anyway, so that's just a strategy I have seen work over and over again.
Couldn't agree more. This has been fantastic. Before I ask you the last question of the podcast, I do want to dive a little bit into, I know you're writing a book right now.
Yes.
Would you like to talk a
Yes.
little bit about that?
I would. Yes, thank you. I'm actually finishing it up very soon here. So, what we have done is we have taken the capitalized process and we are making it into a book slash workbook form for people who want to do this more of a self-paced kind of way. We also recognize that there is the opportunity for people to go into this process, not necessarily having the investment time or funds to really do this, but they want to. So we want to make sure this is open to everyone. And so again, it's taking the whole capitalized process and putting that into that workbook form, and also allowing for a significant focus on how do we approach the resume and cover letter piece? How are we approaching LinkedIn? And really tying it all together. So that's what this book is about. And it also really ties in the career resilience piece because, again, everybody's coming to us in a crisis, and we want to make sure that we are setting you up not just to deal with the current struggle, but like long term, because you're always going to have some sort of mini or bigger career crisis happening. And how are we going to get you prepared to deal with those head on? So yeah, the book is hopefully coming out later this year. Really excited about that. So people can track me on social media as well as visit the website, which I know that those will probably all be in the show notes. And so they can look more into the book then.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's a really wonderful resource. And I
Thank
think
you.
definitely it's going to be able to help people at a larger pace.
Yes, that's the goal. Thank you.
Now, going into the last question, what is a unicorn lesson that you've learned that has impacted you the most and made you the person that you are today?
Absolutely. I think what I have seen over and over for myself, and then repeated in my own family and repeated within obviously our career, our clients as well, there are no doors slamming shut in your face.
Mm.
It really is truly, this wasn't something I saw coming, but let's find the workaround. And it's this adaptability that is so crucial. And so that lesson in learning how to be adaptable. Listen, you lose your job or you recognize this path is not for you, it hurts. It is a tough moment. I say sit with that, let that be there for a bit, process it, and then strategize.
Yeah.
And it's not ignore it. It's okay, this hurts. I don't like this, but let's work through this and then move on. And let's do so in a strategic way. And I think that, again, I've seen that repeatedly for myself, for family members in various capacities, and then obviously for our clients over and over again. And so again, it's not that the door slams shut in your face. It's not locked forever. It's just you might have to reroute a little bit. And that's okay. Sometimes it takes you to a much better destination than you would have ever thought to begin with.
I love that. That is such a valuable lesson. And I hope listeners, you're actually paying attention because I was really deep. So, as we wrap up today, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, contact you, follow you on social media, or just or hire you, how can they do?
Absolutely. Definitely check us out at refreshyourstep.com. They can follow us. We are on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. All of those places are pretty easy to find us there. And go ahead and reach out to us. We're happy to have a conversation. I do have an absolutely wonderful team. So the question I get often is, can I work directly with you? And it's yes, and you will be working directly with me and one of my wonderful team members. We do partner quite extensively with each of our clients, and it ends up being a beautiful thing because then you're getting a whole team of support around you. But yeah, go ahead and find us on at our website as well as on social media, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. And for everyone that's listening, don't feel like you have to jot all this down. Was mentioned before. If you scroll down on the show notes, you'll be able to have all the links and everything will be available there. Also, if you go to my website at rainbowcareercoaching.com, go under the Unicorn Wall of Fame, you'll see Emily on there along with her bio. The links are available as well with a little summary of what we talked about today. As we wrap up, is there any last closing statements that you would like to say?
I think the only thing I would say is, again, if you're dealing with a career crisis now or in the future, or someone who is, take a time, take a moment to sit with it, take a moment to really like recognize, hey, this is hard. And then surround yourself with people who can be supportive for you and with you. Start honing in on that record of success. That is a game changer. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. It's just you're strategically working through it and having a plan and people to support you and help you navigate makes all the difference.
I love that. Thank you so much for everything. And until
My
next time,
pleasure.
everyone.
Thank you.